Guard mocks black prisoner, then finds out she served in the U.S. Army. The echo of heavy boots on concrete hallways marked the rhythm of daily life in Greenville County Detention Center. Officer Lindsay Morrow tightened her belt and adjusted her radio as she strode past the rows of cells, doing her third round of the afternoon. Her face bore the weary mask of someone long disillusioned by the system she served. "They all end up here one way or another," she muttered under her breath. Hardened by years on the job, she rarely looked at inmates as people anymore, just case numbers behind iron bars. That was until she reached cell 117. Inside sat a middle-aged black woman, her posture upright despite the thin mattress and concrete slab she sat on. She didn't pace or fidget like the others. She simply sat there, dignified, calm, and utterly unbothered. Her name tag read, Daniels. See, she wasn't shouting. She wasn't pleading. She didn't even glance at the guard when she passed. That annoyed Lindsay more than anything. Something funny about being locked up. Lindsay barked, pausing in front of the cell. Daniels slowly turned her gaze, her dark eyes steady, unreadable. "No, officer. Just thinking." Lindsay scoffed, tapping her baton on the bars. "Well, maybe you should have thought before breaking the law." "What was it? Theft? Resisting? You don't exactly look like a model citizen." Daniels didn't flinch. "Doesn't matter what it looks like." The calm tone hit a nerve. Lindsay had dealt with defiance. She'd handled tears, aggression, even attempted bribery. But this quiet confidence unnerved her. It felt out of place. "You know," Lindsay added with a smirk, "for someone in orange, you sure carry yourself like you're still somebody important." Daniels tilted her head slightly. "Because I am." The remark hung in the air like smoke from a fire you didn't see coming. Lindsay rolled her eyes and moved on, but the woman's voice echoed in her mind. That evening, out of curiosity, or perhaps ego, Lindsay pulled up the file. Claudine Daniels. Age 48. Arrested for trespassing and failure to comply with a police order. No priors. Hometown, Fayetteville, North Carolina. Occupation, retired U.S. Army Sergeant First Class. Lindsay sat back in her chair, stunned. 20 years in the Army. Multiple tours overseas. Commendations for valor and leadership. She even served as a combat medic. This woman, this inmate, had risked her life more times than Lindsay had changed jobs. And now she sat in a cell, mocked for a crime that didn't reflect her history, her sacrifice, or her service. The next morning, Lindsay approached the cell with different eyes. "Daniels," she said, more gently this time. "You served in the military?" Daniels looked up slowly. "Did, 20 years. Retired with honor. Afghanistan, Iraq, Kosovo." Lindsay nodded, awkwardly clearing her throat. "So, what happened? Why are you here?" Daniels sighed, folding her hands. "My neighbor, Mr. Collins, he's an elderly vet. Had a fall. I broke into his house to help him because no one answered when I knocked. Cops showed up and saw a black woman climbing through a window in a white neighborhood. I explained, but they didn't listen." Lindsay swallowed hard. This wasn't what she'd expected. "Why didn't you tell them who you were?" Daniels looked away. "Didn't think it should matter. Either you believe someone's doing the right thing, or you don't." There was silence between them, but not the empty kind. The kind filled with shame, reflection, and the ache of understanding too late. Over the next few days, Lindsay found herself lingering by cell 117 longer each time. She brought Daniels an extra blanket one evening when the heater broke. Another time, she slipped her a real cup of coffee, against protocol but within conscience. Daniels never asked for special treatment. She never boasted, never lectured. But when another inmate collapsed from a seizure, it was Daniels who barked out medical instructions, stabilizing the woman until help arrived. It was Daniels who calmed a new, terrified girl shaking from heroin withdrawal. She had become a steady presence not just in her cell, but for the whole unit. Not because of her past, but because of her character. Lindsay started asking herself hard questions at home. When had she stopped seeing people? When had she let the badge become a wall instead of a bridge? One Sunday morning, Daniels was released. Charges dropped. Mr. Collins, now recovered, had stormed into the station demanding justice for the woman who'd saved his life. "She's a hero, damn it," he'd shouted. "Not a criminal." Lindsay stood at the gate as Daniels walked out, civilian clothes neatly folded under one arm. "Sergeant Daniels," Lindsay said, addressing her with newfound respect. Daniels turned, her face breaking into a rare, genuine smile. "Officer Morrow." Lindsay hesitated. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. For the way I spoke to you. For how I judged you." Daniels nodded. "Apology accepted. Most people don't get the chance, or take it, to look twice. You did. I learned more from you in 3 weeks than I have in 3 years, Lindsay admitted. If you ever need anything." Daniels raised a hand. "Just treat the next one better. That's enough for me." They shook hands, firmly, with a quiet bond only mutual humility can forge. Months passed. Then one spring morning, Officer Morrow stood at a community event honoring veterans. She wore civilian clothes now. After leaving the force, she joined a local program advocating for criminal justice reform. And standing beside her, speaking to a crowd gathered on folding chairs and waving flags, was Claudine Daniels. "She changed my life," Lindsay whispered to a reporter beside her. "And she never even raised her voice." Daniels finished her speech to warm applause. As the crowd rose, a young girl in a hoodie approached her and asked, "Ma'am, how did you stay kind even when they treated you unfairly?" Daniels knelt to meet her eyes. "Because someone always has to go first. Someone has to be brave enough to show kindness when it's hardest. That's how we change the world." And maybe, in that moment, she did. The end. Message. Every person holds a story far deeper than their circumstances suggest. Compassion isn't a reward for the deserving, it's a responsibility we all share. One act of understanding can unlock the humanity in someone else, and sometimes, it takes seeing the truth behind the uniform, or the jumpsuit, to begin changing not only our minds, but our hearts.